Hello, this is going to be a short video just to go over some basics as to what is going to be required for your first submission of your submission of draft one of your technical report. By now you should have completed the modal analysis experiment, which is the experiment that you were to write the technical report on. Your actual first draft is due as of now Friday, November 6th. That is in about 2 weeks. So what I'm going to do now is just go over some material to help you get started on writing it. Just to let you know, what I have done here in stateside and what I'm going to try to do an equivalent of for you guys in France is to have a writing lecture sometime during these next few weeks before your first draft is actually due. And when I do this writing lecture, it would be most beneficial for you if you had already completed your first attempt at your first draft. So when you write, typically what happens is that you write up your draft and then you spend an equivalent amount of time that it took to write it. You spend also that amount of time revising it before you actually hand it in. And what I've noticed in the past with this assignment is that if I give 2 weeks, there's a good number of students that wait until the night before it's due and then write their full first draft the night before it's due and then hand it in that day or the next day, and it turns out not to be very a good quality product. So the way I've been handling it last year, the way I handled it last year, what seems to work is have something due in the interim. So on Saturday, October 31st, you're required to hand in your first draft to me, your first attempt at your first draft, just so that I can see that you started it. I'm not actually going to grade it. What I'm going to do is open up that file and just see that you have content there related to the experiment, meaning that you actually took the time and then wrote down and wrote your first draft. And then the next week from between October 31st and November 6th, when the first draft is actually due, you'll spend that time revising. And what I'll do is that on the beginning of the week after October 31st, either I'll work it out with Dr. Ruber to get a time set. I will go ahead and have a session with you guys over the phone to go over some questions that you might have in regards to you already having written your first draft, and then have some questions in terms of revising it. And because what's going to happen is that you're not really going to have any questions until you start writing it. When it's 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, and you're sitting there trying to write it up, and you have a bunch of these questions. Well, how do I talk about this, or what was that? How do you describe this certain aspect? And so it'd be good for you to actually have written your first draft. Now, in order to hold you accountable to handing it in, on October 31st, you hand in your first attempt at your first draft. If you don't hand that in, it's 50% off your grade automatically at the start. So all I'm doing is opening up your file, seeing that you have it there, and that means okay, you're good to go. You will have a full 100% possibility for your first draft when you actually hand it in a week later. If you don't hand it in, the highest grade you can get is a 50 when you hand it in. So that just is good motivation to try to get you to hand it in. It worked last year. I assume it'll work this year. So anyway, what I'm going to do in this video is take you through the resources here on the website that you can use to write your first draft. So going under Technical Report Draft 1, you bring that up, and again, you have each section here for writing a full technical report and instructions on how to write it, how to get started. The next section, Technical Report Draft 2, is what you would look at after you have written it. It looks at all the rubrics that I use to grade your first draft, and some hints as to what exactly I'm looking for under each of those rubrics. Under Forms and Documents, if you open up that, you go under Technical Report Draft 1 Evaluation. Here you have the whole system on how I'm going to grade your first draft. So all the rubrics and everything all added up to 100%. Okay. Something else. If you go under Experiments, go down to Experiment 8. I haven't put it up yet, so again, if you go under GCC Main Campus here, and you scroll down to Experiment 8, Extra Help Technical Report, if you click on that, this is going to be, I'll have this link available also under the European Studies Center link for the website. I currently, at this moment, don't have it up for France. I'll put that up immediately following the end of me recording this video. But what this document does is go through each section of the technical report and tells you exactly what I want you to put in each section. As you scroll down, there's going to be in the discussion section, here you go, questions to be answered in discussion. You'll see 5 questions that I want you to answer in the discussion. Those are the questions that you normally answer in your experiment memo. You know, the questions that are located in the experiment handout that you answer in the experiment memo. For this particular experiment, since you're writing a technical report, there is no memo due, but these questions would be the equivalent of that. And what you're going to do is answer these questions in the discussion. And what the questions are designed to do is to help you learn how to discuss your data. There's a difference between the results, which is stating what your data is, and the discussion, which is discussing it. It's easy to say, but it's hard to understand at times. So this answering these questions gives you an idea of what I mean in terms of discussing your data. And so please read through it. There's a big note here that basically says that after you're done answering each question in certain groupings, you must put the number of the question at the end of the sentence. So do not answer the questions as in listing question 1, answer, question 2, answer. This whole report needs to be, you know, in paragraphs, in cohesive form. These questions are not meant for you to answer numerically in the text in terms of formatting. Question 1, this is the question, answer. Question 2, here's the question, answer. You're supposed to answer these questions into one big congruent body of text, where at the end of sections of the discussion, you put the question number in parentheses as shown here, where I'm highlighting, basically telling me that question 1 is answered in this group of, in this part of the discussion. Question 2 is answered in this part of the discussion. I hope that's clear. This guide is very helpful and will be also a big resource for you in terms of writing your technical report. So that's all I had in this video. Again, I'll make this link active for up here for the European ISC section of the website. October 31st is when your first attempt at your first draft is due. Following that, we will have a class session, basically fielding questions and talking a little bit more about the writing assignment over the phone to the whole class. And then that following Friday, November 6th, is when your first draft is actually due. Again, guys, if you have any questions, please email me.